Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I just want to take the time to thank you guys for joining me. Today, I'd like to talk about why we struggle. There's a lot of things that go on in our lives and a lot of things that we deal with on a daily basis. And most of that has to deal with things that we struggle with, and the stress that is caused by that struggle. So, one of the reasons why we struggle with things is because we don't really understand what it is that we're supposed to do, or we don't really understand a situation, or, we try to control a situation and we don't get the outcome that we want. So we struggle. We struggle with relationships, we struggle with situations, mainly because we want things to be the way we want them to be. And when they don't turn out the way we want them to be, that creates an internal struggle within us. So, you end up having this situation where, you want, say a specific job, or, you want a certain amount of money, or there's something else going on where you have your heart set on, whatever the outcome is. And if you don't get that outcome, if it doesn't turn out the way you want it to turn out, if it doesn't come as quickly as you want it to come, then we struggle. And parts of the ways that we struggle, of course, is negative self-talk. This is one that I struggle with a lot. There's a lot of things that I have going on. A lot of you may not know, but I run multiple businesses, and there are things that I'm working on that I have plans in my head of where I'd like to be in whatever time frame. And when I can't meet those deadlines because something comes up, or, there's some unforeseen circumstance, then I become frustrated with myself because I haven't hit this goal that I've set for myself. So one that has been plaguing me recently is I am doing a website rebrand for one of my businesses. And with this website rebrand, I had a goal to have everything done by the 30th of June. And now it is the 2nd of July. And it's not done. And I keep thinking to myself, like, I can't believe I didn't meet this deadline. I am, so frustrated with myself. What's wrong with you? Why can't you get anything done? And honestly, I set that goal 2 weeks ago. And I think that was a really crazy deadline, honestly. Even though I know it was a crazy deadline, I'm still beating myself up because I didn't meet the deadline. I tried really hard, but, through the rebrand process, I needed to have a new logo made. I hired someone to do a logo, and after about 5 revisions, I realized that the person that I hired to do it for me just didn't have the capability to see my vision and, put it onto paper, basically. So now I'm out the money that I paid this person to design because, it's not her fault that she couldn't really get what I was trying to convey. So I let her keep the money because she worked really hard to try and make me satisfied, but it just wasn't. She wasn't really meeting my vision. So that set me back. I have yet to find another person to design the logo. That I don't know that I really see anything in my head, but so that's going to take some time. Number one, finding somebody, and number two, going through the entire design process, and then the revision process and all that stuff. I use WordPress for my websites, and I was trying to set up an online store, and I installed WooCommerce and picked the wrong thing, and installed the WooCommerce theme over my WordPress theme, which completely got rid of everything that was on my website. So it took me an entire day to figure that out, and so that set me back. And so, we have these things that come up, and here's the interesting thing. when it comes to struggle, things come up on purpose. We are constantly, constantly, constantly being tested. We are being pushed. We are being prodded because we need to work on mastery of self. And in order to actually master self, you can't do that if you don't come across these situations and actually come through them a better person. So, if a situation arises and we fly off the handle, then you've been tested and you failed. And that's what most people do. I was, kind of going back and forth a little bit on Facebook with somebody because they asked me what I do. And I told her that I taught mindfulness-based stress reduction. And she didn't understand what that was. And so I kind of told her that, mindfulness-based stress reduction is the ability to be able to reduce stress by reacting to this situation differently than you normally would in like a knee-jerk reaction. So most people, when a situation arises, you have a knee-jerk reaction. Somebody says something that pisses you off and you just like immediately snap. Somebody does something that really upsets you and you just fly off the handle. It's an immediate reaction. It's something that's just completely ingrained in us, and something that is, it's an automatic reaction. Again, unconscious incompetence. And so what you need to work on is going from unconscious incompetence to unconscious competence. And this can only be achieved through mindfulness. Now, one thing that I told her that usually freaks a bunch of people out when I tell them, stress does not exist. It just doesn't. We create tension in our bodies because we are fighting against something. We are arguing against reality. We refuse to believe that something is the way that it is. And it just is, right? Everything just is. And we have to just accept it. There's nothing that we can do to change what is. We just can't. I mean, it is. The past is what it is. You can't change it. No matter how much you wish or want or whatever, you cannot change the past. It's done. It's over. And you just have to let it go. And the same thing with the future. The future doesn't exist. And the future is not guaranteed for anyone. Every single one of us could go to bed tonight and not wake up tomorrow. Some of us couldn't even make it to bed. So the future is not guaranteed. The past is done and over with, and all we have is here and now. So if we can learn to bring our attention and our awareness to the here and now, to what's actually happening to us, and to understand that everything is the way it is, and we just have to accept it. Like there's so much going on in the world right now, particularly with, COVID. There's so many people who are just like, I don't believe it exists. And it's like, you know what? Okay, that's fine. That's what you want to believe. But regardless of what you believe or not, it exists. It's so funny. I know people who say they don't believe in microwaves. And I was telling another friend of mine, and she's like, well, it's like saying you don't believe in cell phones. Okay, well, regardless of whether you believe in cell phones or not, they exist. It's here. You may not want to use it because it creates radio waves and it might, whatever, affect brainwave frequencies and, whatever. I mean, there's some really crazy people out there, talking about the weird things about cell phones. But regardless of whether you believe in it or not, it exists. So, I mean, each person is entitled to their own beliefs, right? This exists for me. It may not exist for you. Diseases exist for some people, and some people, they don't exist for them. And that's perfectly fine. But we have to accept that. I was reading an article the other day, and it was talking about how fighting over masks has become the new normal, and not just like arguing about it, but downright fist fights. And this one guy was saying that his mother works at a grocery store, and he never thought in a million years that his mother would have a high-risk job. Because now all these people who work in, restaurants and in stores are trying to ease tensions between people who are like, it's my right to not wear the mask. And, if you don't wear a mask, then, you're going to make the whole world sick. And honestly, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is what you do. That's the only thing that matters in the whole wide world, is what you do, because you cannot control another person. You cannot control an outcome. You cannot control a situation. You can only control yourself. You can only control your feelings, your emotions, and how you act and react in a situation. And it is up to us as individuals to set the example, to be the ones who are leading by example. And if somebody else doesn't want to wear a mask, then that's their right. I am a vegan. I've been a vegan for 17 years, and I fully believe in a vegan diet. I believe in a cruelty-free world. And I believe a whole bunch of other things that a lot of other people don't believe. And you know what? That's their right. My husband eats meat. And I have a lot of people say, how can you live with someone who eats meat with your beliefs? You know what? His life. It's his body. It's his life. He gets to decide what he's doing with his life. Not me. It's not my choice. It's not for me to decide. I mean, if I could, I would say, you know what, you're vegan and you're just going to have to deal with it. And that would just make me happy, but then he'd be miserable. So I have to respect him and his decisions and his choices. As long as he goes to bed at night knowing that what he did was the best that he could do today, that's perfectly fine for me, because that's all any of us can do, right? It's all up to us to make the best choices possible that we can for us at this point in time, and go to bed at night knowing that we did the best that we could, regardless of whether it was a good choice or a bad choice or whatever, because we all make choices when they're not always good choices. I mean, Lord knows I've had my fair share of really bad choices in my life, but I can't let that dictate my life. I can't let that dictate my future. And I can't dwell on it because it's in the past. I can't change it. I can't change who I am. I can't change who I was. I can't change what I did. All I can do is accept and acknowledge that this happened and this is what, I've gone through in my life, and then maybe use that as a learning tool and move forward. So we have to understand that everybody's going through their own thing. Everybody's fighting their own battle. Everybody's dealing with their own shit. They are. We have no idea what anybody else is going through. Maybe the person that is not wearing a mask has asthma, and if they wear the mask, they can't breathe. You don't know that. You aren't that person. Maybe that person just lost someone to COVID and they're like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care anymore. Whatever. I'm just going to live life to the fullest. I refuse. And there are a lot of people that are like that. There are a lot of people who are like, I refuse to stop living. But you can't let that control you or dictate what you do or how you act or react, because everybody is entitled to their own opinion. I know it's a hard pill to swallow. It really is, because we want people to be like us, because we want to fit in. We want people to follow in our footsteps. We want people to really, come together and like be like one big happy family. But that's not the way the world works, because if we were all the same, it'd be a pretty freaking boring world. I'll tell you, it would be really damn boring if we were all the same. So it's really nice that we have a lot of different things that cause conflict, because conflict actually makes you grow. It makes you a better person. But if you can't take that conflict and actually use it to your advantage or learn from it, then you're going to stay stuck and you're going to be frustrated. You're going to be pissed off. You're going to be bitter and angry and upset for a really long time. So you have to understand that, the reason why we suffer is because we just, we have all these internal turmoils, because that guy should have used his turn signal when he was turning. I can't believe he didn't use his turn signal. Oh my God, that guy's driving 100 on the freeway. Doesn't he know the speed limit's only 70? Like where I live, the speed limits are 70. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. But people drive 100. I'm not going to lie. Okay, sometimes I drive like 90, whatever. But you can judge me if you want. I don't care. But I mean, like, this is the stuff that goes through our heads. And then we get like so frustrated. And so this is what happens. You get frustrated, and that is what is going on inside you. You have this tension inside you. It gives you headaches. It makes you upset. And you just like, you feel frustrated and angry, and you just want to just punch something or hit something. But you know what? It's all bullshit. All of it is, because none of it matters. All that matters is what you're doing. Okay, so that guy driving 70 is driving 70. Maybe he causes an accident. Maybe he doesn't. You know what? But if he does cause an accident, maybe he'll learn something. Maybe someone will die. I don't really know. But it's not for you to decide who is right and who is wrong. It's only for you to decide whether you are right or you are wrong. So, it's really, really crazy. And I know it sounds, every time I talk, everything I say, I know it sounds like I'm trying to make it sound super easy, but it's not. Again, none of this is easy. It's not. It's a practice, and you have to constantly practice. Every time you're in a situation, every time something happens, every time you feel the energy, the tension, the anger, the frustration, you have to become aware that it's happening. So I grew up in a household where if anybody did anything wrong, automatic response, smack, automatic response. That's just the way it was. And I catch myself, and I'm like, years and years and years later, if somebody does something, the first reaction that like I think in my head is I just want to punch someone. I just want to hit someone or something, because that's what I was raised with. That's how I was, this is my automatic response. This is my unconscious incompetence coming out. And so I catch myself and I think, violence is not the answer. Violence is never the answer to anything. Anger and anger, two negatives don't make a positive. They don't. They just don't. Two negatives never make a positive. So I catch myself and I shift the thoughts. Okay, what is it that's making me angry? And why is it making me angry? And so this is what mindfulness does, right? You catch yourself having the negative thoughts, having the negative feelings, wanting to do these automatic responses. I had a bad day. This was me, years ago. I would have a bad day and I just want to go home. And every day was a bad day, because every day was a bad day. I just expected every day to be a bad day. And it was a bad day. Like, I was never disappointed, because I expected everything to be bad. Everything was bad. And I just couldn't wait to go home and have a drink because I had a bad day. Automatic response. So, you shift your thoughts and you shift your feelings, and you catch yourself when you start to get into these, rote rehearsal programs, these automatic things that are just happening in your life. So I'm just going to ask you, try and pick one thing that, really frustrates you, that happens regularly, and see if there's a way that you can try and bring yourself to awareness every time it happens. So when this happens to you, when you get frustrated, if I know the masks are a big one, so maybe this is one that you can work on, right? You go into a store, you go into a restaurant, and you say, okay, these people aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, and you get mad at them. Think to yourself, is it really my place to be angry with them? Because honestly, as long as you are doing what you're supposed to do, that's really all that matters. Yeah, okay, they're taking a lot of risks and they're putting other people at risk. But honestly, every day you get in a car and drive, and anybody else on the road, you're putting yourself at risk, honestly. Anytime you get on a plane, anytime you get on a boat, any form of public transportation, you are risking your life. Every time you go out to eat at a restaurant, you're risking your life, because you could get salmonella, you could get E. coli poisoning. There's so many different things that could happen. But we just keep focusing on this one thing because it's what the media is focusing on. And so this is because I keep reading reports about all this and all the people that are just like, it's all over social media. Mask, no mask, mask, no mask. Yeah, okay. You know, try and focus on the feelings and the fears and the frustrations. And it's mainly fear, right? That are keeping people upset and angry and really like stuck. So feel the feelings. And I'm not saying to invalidate your feelings. Absolutely not. Because if you're afraid, I mean, that's genuine. But understand that being afraid and then upset with somebody because they're doing something that could potentially harm you, you are out in public. And it's, while it should be other people should be cognizant and they should be conscientious enough to, say, you know what, I'm going to wear a mask in public because it makes other people comfortable. Most people don't think like that. They don't. Most people are self-centered and they're selfish, and it isn't a bad thing. Like we don't really live in a society that is a community society where, it's an individualized society. We're not communities. We're really not communities. The places that are communities are doing a lot better than we are, but it's just the way that of the world where we are, and we just have to accept that. I mean, really, we do. There's no arguing against it. It is what it is. And just understand that, yeah, okay, that person is putting you at risk, but you are also putting yourself at risk because you are out, in a store or a restaurant or wherever you happen to be. And if you truly, truly wanted to mitigate your risk, you wouldn't go out at all. So the onus can't be completely on the other person. But, blame is a funny little thing. It makes everything okay if we say, you know what, this is all their fault. It's like you wrap it up in this pretty little package that says, I don't have to accept responsibility because I can just blame it on somebody else. It's somebody else's responsibility. And that we have to accept responsibility. We have to accept personal responsibility. And if you want to stay safe and you want to be happy and you want to be healthy, then you have to accept responsibility for your feelings. And you have to just understand that, it is what it is, and try to shift your thoughts for, when you're feeling upset and you're feeling angry and you're feeling sad or frustrated or afraid. Think about the situation and why it is that you're feeling afraid. Do you feel afraid because you feel disconnected? Do you feel angry because you feel other people aren't towing the line? And then try to understand or even look at things from somebody else's perspective. Because again, you don't know what somebody else is going through. You don't know their situation. You don't know their health consequences. You don't know the people that they're coming in contact with. So you can only do what you can do. And that's the best that you can do. And if you really want to stop being frustrated, then you really need to stop having expectations from other people and from situations. So, if you want to stop struggling, then we need to be here right now. And we need to really focus on our own thoughts and feelings and try really hard to control those thoughts and feelings. Because if you can't do that, then you will never win. So if you let somebody else make you angry, you're giving them power over you. And every time you do that, you lose. You will never win if you just constantly give away your power like that. You can't do that. You have to keep it. You have to protect it. You have to guard yourself. So, I just implore you, every time that you start to feel angry, upset, frustrated, afraid, think about what it is in the situation that's causing you to be afraid and how it can be that you can, number one, recognize the feelings, and number two, maybe shift your thoughts or, accept responsibility for your own thoughts and feelings and not shift the blame onto somebody else. So if you have any thoughts or comments, I would really love to hear them. Feel free to put them in the comments. If you happen to be watching this on YouTube, I would really like for you to give me a like and subscribe if you're interested in learning more about, mindfulness-based stress reduction, personal care, self-care and personal development. So that's kind of what this, is all about. It's all about personal development. And, I really want to help people stop struggling, because it's something to, like, one of the greatest things that I see, keeping people from, really living their life to the fullest. It's a very unfortunate thing that a lot of people keep themselves stuck, and they just give away their power to everybody else, and it's truly, truly detrimental to your well-being to do that. So I have weekly group coaching Thursday nights at 7:30 Eastern time, and I'll put a link to the Facebook group in the comments. It's free, completely free for you to join. We'd love to see you if you have any questions or any comments, or you're having an issue that you're struggling with and you really want help with it. It's free coaching. So, you really have nothing to lose. If there's something that you'd like to discuss, but you're really afraid to discuss it in the open, you're free to send me a message. And, in the next group coaching call, I'd be happy to discuss whatever it is, and, how to possibly overcome whatever the struggle is. So, I'd really love to see you again next week. So, we do these every Thursday, 7 p.m. on my Facebook page. And then the videos get posted on YouTube on Tuesdays. So, if you'd like to get notified of the next time that the videos are going to be appearing, then, hit the like button and hit the subscribe and then the little bell icon in order to be notified. Until next time, stay safe, stay sane, and stay happy. We will see you next week.